Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, the 21st of August, and thank furlough, it's Friday all over again. I think furlough seems to be disappearing a bit now, so what we're going to call it in the future, I don't know. So anybody, any suggestions what the extra F might be in future, please let me know. I'm very pleased that obviously we've got Jackie with us, so perhaps it could be thank Jackie, it's Friday. But she's telling me today she's not got a lot to talk about because there's not a lot happening, and most of you seem to be coping, and I gather, Jackie, not quite so many technical queries as there were.
No, good afternoon everyone, nice to be with you again. No, it's been a very quiet week. I've had nothing from my contacts at HMRC on coronavirus bits and pieces. I usually get a Friday morning update from one of the managers there, but that hasn't come through today. And I've been monitoring all the emails that came out this week, and really apart from just the reminders that stage level 2, number 2 opened on Monday, and that's now available on the platform for self-employed to claim their grants. Nothing more on that than we spoke about last week. Just to be careful about claiming for this particular quarter. Now, I did send an email to my professional bodies working group on this on Monday, about the, do you remember last week we talked about HMRC is saying that to claim the second self-employed grant, you need to be able to show that your income has reduced or your costs have gone up since the 14th of July. And I sent a fairly lengthy email about, well, what's going to happen in the third quarter, because it's now that the redundancies will start to kick in. I think we're going to lose more businesses. Our members will probably lose some clients because their businesses will shut down and their income could very well be affected in the third quarter of the year, of the tax year, so September to December. And I have to say I've had no feedback at all, not even from the other professional bodies. So either they didn't like my email and they're ignoring it, or they're not quite sure what to say. So really, apart from that, technical queries, I've had a few this week. Mainly general bookkeeping technical queries rather than those linked into furloughing or anything like that. Few coming in on, now that the redundancies are starting to kick in, unfortunately, and people are being laid off, how are we going to deal with holiday pay? I spoke to one of our members this morning, and she was saying that they've got somebody who is being paid right up to the end of August and then is being laid off, but has accrued some holiday pay. And when they're doing the furlough claim, that they're still completely furloughed, so it's 100% furlough. When they do the holiday claim for this month, it looks rather odd because suddenly the claim for 80% furlough has gone up. So we said we were talking about what you could do. So if anybody's sort of in that situation and has put something in that looks as though it's going to be higher than it has previously, yeah, it'd be interesting to see anything on the Q&A coming in. But that's about it. Not much on the coronavirus at all.
Well, I suppose that's a good thing, although reading the news today, I think it seems to be spiking again in most countries. Even Germany, that was jumping up and down saying how clever it was at one stage, seems to have got a huge spike at the moment. So who knows, really? But
yeah, I think we're all in a problem. And I have a funny feeling a lot of people who are away on holiday at the moment coming back, if they have to go into quarantine, I think we're might get some queries about what's going to happen about their salaries if they're there, and the employers are saying, well, sorry, but we need you back at work and you can't come back to work. So it'll be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I've got a few points to make here. Firstly, just looking at a number of the inspections that have been carried out recently by our compliance department, a couple of people have decided not to use our AML online system because they do it on a spreadsheet or something like that. Unfortunately, spreadsheets corrupt, and funnily enough, they tend to corrupt just before our inspector arrives, so it doesn't count. The AML online is a requirement of your membership if you are in practice. You do need to put every single client on there. You will be judged against that. So it's there for your help and assistance. And most other organisations charge, huge amounts of money for this, and it's yours as part of your fee. So just use it, And there are several questions at the beginning, and I know a lot of people think there are a lot of questions, but they're questions that you need to be asked so that you can properly determine whether your client is high risk or not, or whether they're politically exposed person or whatever it is. And don't forget, we have this new facility now, which as soon as you put a company name in there, you get linked into Companies House, which means you get to find who the directors are. Are you being given the right information or not? And also then checking in on those directors to see if they've got half a dozen other companies that you don't know about, perhaps. So it's a very useful tool, and I think that most people who are not getting this through ICB are paying, you know, £200 to £300 a year for this. So it's worth having. It's worth having. So, but you've got to use it properly. CPD, we are continually asked about CPD. You should now be starting to accrue your CPD points during 2021, which is obviously only next year. It will be mandatory that you have something in your CPD report. A lot of what you do is CPD and you may not even realize it. So being involved with something like this is part CPD. Going to conferences, going to webinars, all this sort of stuff, you can add those all into your CPD. So don't think this is going to be difficult, because it won't, but you do need to start recording. If you haven't got any idea about that, how to do it, go onto the website, look it up. If you can't find anything there or you don't understand it, that's why we've got a customer service department, so ask them. We have noticed recently that a couple of people have come a cropper when using subcontractors because they haven't held them in a proper contract. And then there's been a falling out or whatever, or the wrong work has been done, or in a couple of cases, clients have been poached. So I spoke to a lady on one of our branch meetings that Jean and I did recently to sort of fill in a few of the gaps, and she said that it's all very well they needing a contract, but she just paid £2,500 to a lawyer, and the contract was so long and so difficult nobody understood it. Well, the good news is that ICB is actually in the process of writing a subcontractor's contract for service, which you will be able to use. We're not going to charge you for it. It'll be on the website, and we'll let you know as soon as that is ready. But basically, it will cover a number of things. So it will be self-employed subcontractors to you, and also contractors who are coming via a limited company or a service company, or whatever they want to call it. So you will have two separate contracts that will cover those individuals that are working for you, or where you've got a company. So you might employ a limited company where there are 2 or 3 staff that can work on your behalf. So the contracts will be out very shortly. They've already begun writing our lawyers. So there'll be clauses in there to cover things, for example, like the section to make sure that your employed subcontractor is not deemed to be an employee. Now, we've all had problems with this in the past, but IR35 and off-payroll working rules, they're being ramped up at all times. There's something big coming out again soon, I think Jacquie will confirm, but that sort of thing has got to be covered. We will have a restrictive clause preventing subcontractors from contracting your members' clients, so they can't remove it from your clients, so that they can't start poaching. And then there will obviously be clauses written in there to reflect the subcontractor's obligations to you, including responsibilities under AML, GDPR, and everything else. So as I say, that's being written at the moment. We've just, if we haven't paid the money, we've certainly signed off the invoice on it. So that's being written by lawyers at the moment. So as soon as those are out, there'll be 2 of them, as I say, one for a self-employed subcontractor to you and one for a limited company subcontracted to you. And we'll be able to put that on the web, and you'll be able to download that and then just personalize it. So that's another free service that we're adding to what we do at the moment. Right, we are shortly sending you a survey, which we hope as many of you as possible will complete. It's about your relationship with firms of accountants. So we know many of you have very good relationships with accountants, but we also know that several of you are now experiencing problems with accountants who seem to want to change all your figures, change the way you've allocated stuff, particularly in expenses, etc. And we need to know about this, because we're going to submit a paper to government about this, because we are being asked by government where we fit into everything and what accountants are doing, and is there any way that we could be even more responsible for helping sort out tax misbehaviour, etc. Obviously, I think there is. I think we are very, very important. And I always think that if you get it right at the beginning, it doesn't matter how far up the chain it goes, it should remain correct. So we're doing that. You may notice I'm sitting in a different room this afternoon. That's not because Amy Copeland has stolen my chair, although she has stolen my seating, figuratively speaking. The software session has actually been very, very popular. Over 700 people linked in through Facebook to the last one, which was Receipt Bank versus Auto Entry. And members are telling us they're great. We're getting lots of ideas for the next ones. So we're doing one on cash flow, I think, probably next. We're trying to get all three of the main cash flow people in fluidly, futurally, and float. They're not all keen to come on, but we'll see how they're doing. So that should be good. Anything? I see you've got a couple of questions up there, Jacquie. Do you want to fire away?
Yeah, okay. A couple of questions coming. Judith, I have to say I've been reading these ones, trying to think of the answers to them while Garry was talking. Judith has come in. Hi, Judith. I have a question re expenses receipt for a meal. If it has a 50% government reduction, do I claim all the VAT? No, you can only claim the VAT on what you pay, because it will have VAT on there, but the 50% off or whatever off will actually reduce the VAT. So I think you might have to do a pro rata calculation on that to claim the VAT back. It's an interesting one. I haven't really thought about that. We did cover how to deal with the VAT from the supplier's side, the fact that the full amount of the full VAT has to be declared at the point of sale, but you're only paying 50% or an amount. So I think you can only claim the VAT back on what you spend. I don't think you can claim the full VAT back. Anybody who's got any other comments on that, please come back and let me know. And Nicola Payne's come in. Hi, Nicola. Do we include the bank holiday this month as a normal working day in the furlough calculations if they don't normally work it? I.e., does August have 20 or 21 working days if we normally work Monday to Friday? Well, I think it depends on whether the bank holiday is a holiday day, because if you look at the holiday regulations, it's 28 days including bank holidays. So although they may not work it, it's considered to be part of a holiday within the 28 days, because that's what you get. You get 20 days plus bank holidays, or 28 days including bank holidays. And there is actually a slight difference between those two, although it doesn't sound as much. Because if you give the 28 days and then they work on the bank holiday, they'll obviously get another day off. So I think the answer would be depends on what you do for holidays. So I would think it's 21 days.
I always find the bank holidays very difficult, particularly with part-time. You know, do they get 4 half days off, or what is it? You know, and then if a person either leaves or joins at the right time of the year, they get so much allowance for those bank holidays that they don't actually have, or you know, it's really confusing. I find
it's very confusing. But I think it's certainly been easier since they slightly changed the holiday, the way the holiday descriptors go. So I think it.
Can I just say thank you to Nicola while you're talking to Nicola? Hi, Nicola. Thank you very much for the email you sent through. We are acting on that, and it is very helpful. Thank you. I can say no more. Just to let everybody know before we carry on with the questions, just want to run through what's available to you in way of branch meetings at the moment. Tuesday the 25th of August is a North Yorkshire branch. That's at 7 o'clock. 3rd of September is the next Lincolnshire branch meeting. That's also at 7 o'clock. So obviously Lucy Brown is back from her holiday in the Lake District. I just hope she gets back to find that Kirsty St. John has been looking after her dog properly. But anyway, at least it wasn't a goldfish. 4th of September. Can you believe we're already running into September now? So 4th of September, Warwickshire is at 9 o'clock in the morning. Warwickshire like to get up early, don't they? But they always run those early. 8th of September, West Sussex at 6:30. And 15th of September, Worcestershire at 10. Now, obviously, we have a lot of you who are at home looking after children at the moment. I'm not quite sure how that's going to affect you when they all go back to school, and I'm not sure anybody knows. So we'll see how that goes. But we have always said that if 3 o'clock in the afternoon becomes impossible because of school runs, etc., we will look at moving ICB TV time-wise to some other time during the day. But at the moment, we're sticking where we are until such time as we're talking to ourselves. But we'll see how that goes.
Okay, no more questions at the moment, but I did have something I just wanted to pass on, that if anybody's listening has got some feedback I'd be interested in. last week we were talking about my rather frustrating HMRC meeting, but a lot has gone on since then. A lot of emails flying backwards and forwards between various professional bodies and HMRC. And if you remember, we were talking about the onboarding of clients to your agent's online tax agent's account, particularly with regards to income tax and the new ITSA online MTD that's going to come on board in 2023. And one of the suggestions was that the easiest way to assure HMRC that they're actually liaising with the correct client is for the client to log into their business tax account and to actually appoint you as their agent. Now, at the moment, as you're aware, you get the information from them and you add them to your agent account. They then go around and it goes round and round in circles. At the moment, I think a lot of the activation codes are being done via email, but they are, I think, going to go back to the old postal system soon, so it's going to delay things slightly. As I say, one suggestion is that if somebody has a business tax account, you have a client who's prepared to use it to log into their business tax account and appoint you as an agent, that will then come through and you'll be the person that will accept them rather than them accepting you as a tax agent. And what that will then do is that will automatically remove the previous tax agent from the client's account, and all you'll have to do is to complete the release documentation between you and the previous tax agent. For me, that makes perfect sense, but of course I am aware that a lot of people out there do not want to access or cannot access their business tax account. They're appointing you to be their agents and they want you to do everything. So anybody's got any feedback, I'd be interested to hear that this afternoon. Thank you to a couple of you who have come back to me and approached me since last week to say they'd be quite happy to put some input into this. So if there is anybody else out there that feels that they want to put some input into this discussion about how we improve signing up clients online for the tax agents, I'd be very interested to hear from you. I have 3 already that have contacted me, so that's great. Anybody else, welcome to join in. I'm doing quite a lot of HMRC consultation papers at the moment, and I've been working with the focus groups that have already been set up, and that's been incredibly helpful getting your thoughts back, because it means I can actually put your quotes and your thoughts into the reports, and yeah, any help. And as Garry and I have said before, we have lovely members, and I was astounded at the detail that came back from the members who responded to my query last week, so thank you.
Got a nice message from the Facebook people saying, this is from Natalie Botcher, received my ICB license yesterday. Congratulations, Natalie. Thank you for explaining the AML record keeping on ICB website. Very useful. I'm really glad you found it and found it useful. People tell us they don't know where to find it. I mean, I really don't see why, but nonetheless, you will be contacted shortly by our new man. I've told you he's along. He's just finished his 2nd week of training on using systems and getting to know you as members. That's Sujay Patel. He will be with you very soon. You'll be giving our new enrollees a great call and hopefully helping you through your first couple of months worth of training and getting ready and establishing your business. He's done it all before, but not for us, doing it for all sorts of different people and organizations. So he, as I say, he's doing his training at the moment, but next week one of his big jobs will be to set up his onboarding scheme. So Natalie, you've come at just the right time, but I'm very pleased you found it useful. I mean, we take hours and hours and hours writing this stuff, and we know what it means, but the trouble is sometimes we would know what it means because, you know, we're writing about something we understand. So it's nice to hear that it was helpful. So any of you that have got comments, but good, bad or indifferent about our services, please let us know, because it's the only way we learn, to be honest.
Comment from Judith again. This one's to do with MTD and onboarding MTD VAT clients, and she said she was struggling to get MTD VAT clients to her agent account, going round and round in circles. Eventually used the link from an old MTD article that I wrote last year, back in September 19, I think I did it, and then it worked from that. Just to remind you, HMRC currently have 2 systems for MTD. They have their old got to get this right, agent online account, online services account. You have to register for that first as an online agent. Then you start to add your services onto that. Now, at the moment, anything to do with MTD is in a new system, and gradually everything will migrate across. But as happens with two systems, never the twain shall speak. And so you actually have to, you see some information on your old agent online account, and then the actual links through to your software and the MTD for that is done through the new account, if I remember what I wrote last year. So yeah, not easy, but if anybody's having problems, I think I did go through and there are some screenshots and things of how to do it. So I think if you go into one of my technical articles, I think it was September 2019, if you're struggling with that, that should help. Judy said it works, so thank you for that, Judy.
Yeah, if any of you have a few spare moments, and I know most of you don't, but everything that's ever been put into the newsletter is still available under archive on the newsletter section. And you know, so there are some articles in there which are not dated, even though they're 2 or 3 years old. They still stand good, and you know, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Really, make sure you are reading the most up-to-date stuff. So start from the front and work backwards rather than the other way around. Did you have another question there, Jackie? Was that all of you?
No, I think that was both from Judith. It was a follow-up to the first one. So I did.
Okay. Now, in the absence of anything from anybody about what you should be watching, I mean, we had quite a few people sending films and plays and various other things in there. You seem to have gone quiet. I think such a lot of you are actually on holiday at the moment. We're finding that we're sending emails out and we're getting so many bounce backs, automatic answered, saying that you've found somewhere. And I do mean found somewhere, because June and I were trying to get a couple of days away recently, and we ended up having Saturday and Sunday away because those were the only 2 days available that we could find anywhere close and decent. But anyway, good luck to you. I hope you're all having a good time. But just very quickly, something a funny play that June, it's actually on Netflix, but it's something that we watched a couple of nights ago. Actually, very strange, called What About Dick? It's first released in 2012. What it is, it's the cast of a radio performance of a radio play, and it's all set up like a studio, lots of microphones, lots of people standing up and sitting down, lots of scripts in hand. It's actually to a live audience, so you get all the cheers, etc., etc. Lots of double entendres and 1 or 2 treble entendres as well. But it was written, directed and starring Eric Idle, so give you an idea of the sort of play that it's going to be, but it is quite good fun. So Russell Brand in there plays Dick. Tim Curry, who many of you might know from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, he plays the Reverend Whoopsie. Eric Idle actually plays a piano. I won't explain it because it'll kill it for you, but anyway, he plays a piano. A talking piano. And Eddie Izzard, okay, right in a minute, plays Obi Ben Kingsley. Jim Piddock, Sergeant Ken Russell. Tracy Ullman, remember Tracy Ullman? She plays Aunt Maggie. Very upright. Then we've got Jane Leaves, who was Daphne in Frasier. She plays Emma Schlegel. Then we have a bit of a link with this one. Sophie Winkleman plays Helena. Now, she was Zoe, the ex-love interest of the Ashton Kutcher character, Walden Schmidt, in 2.5 Men. I don't know if you remember her in that. But in this play, Helena lives in Kensington Gardens, which is a bit of a joke, really, because actually she is the daughter-in-law of our patron Prince Michael of Kent. And she married his son, Lord Frederick Windsor. So she is well known to us all. But next time you see her, remember, she's our patron's daughter-in-law. And finally, actually, making up the rear and not having a lot at the beginning of the play, but quite a lot afterwards, was Billy Connolly, who plays Inspector McGuffin. And the interesting thing, at least for us, is that this was just before he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. So he is looking a little bit strained at times, and obviously that's why. But anyway, it's well worth a go. That's What About Dick. You as long as you don't mind, as I say, plenty of double entendres. It's you know, it's not a rib tickler, but it's not too bad. Mention also here Iris, who's our anchor today. She's making sure that we stay on air. She is currently putting together an article about several of our members who've rung in to say what a great time they're having, just set up in practice. So they've been in for a while, but they're finding that they are getting through COVID. They're helping their clients. It's all been a very positive thing for them. And so if any of you would like to tell us any stories you've got about how you've gone that extra mile to service your clients and the stuff that you've done for them, please send something to customer service, obviously at the normal way, or it's actually iris.christofides, so you might not want to do that, but it's CHRISTOPHEDES. I think. Iris, if you're there, you can jump in at bookkeepers.org.uk. Was that right? Oh, well, there's Iris. There we are.
There's no PH, but I will write the email in the comments of this chat, and everyone can have a look and send in your lovely stories if that's all right with you. That's right.
Right. No, absolutely. That's great. Nice to see you. Anyway, great. So that was Iris, everybody. I wasn't sure whether it was Christofides or Christophides, but that's the cat, isn't it? In Cats or something. Anyway, never mind. Well, I'm lost my plot now. No,
Okay, let me pick up on some questions while Garry gathers his thoughts together.
Yeah.
On the chat, message from Nikki Hagenbeck. Hi, Nikki. I had to deregister an MTD client for VAT as at the 31st of July. When I went to run the July VAT return, I wasn't able to. HMRC said that the MTD system automatically marks the final month as submitted. I will now have to do a manual return. One to watch out for. Yes, do be careful that I think before you deregister anybody, you do have to have everything completed and uploaded. Suzanne says, hi, I attended some ICB meetings recently and they were showing as pending on my CPD record, but now seem to have disappeared. Do I need to add them manually? Thank you. Don't know about that one, Garry.
No, I'll ask Kerry about that. I know that they don't go on immediately you book, because some people book and then don't turn up. So we have to go through afterwards. We wait for the list of attendees from the branch chair, and then we do something with it. I'm not quite sure why it would have gone. I'll see if I can get I'll see if I can get Kerry on the phone whilst you're talking about that.
And Nicola Payne's just come up and said, hi, can you give my branch meeting a shout? Cardiff branch, 8th of September, covering AML with Mike Jardine. That's just been confirmed. So put that in your diaries if you're interested in that one. And while Gary's doing that, he was saying about people going the distance for their clients. I live in a sort of, officially we're a village.
In me,
but it might be, it's sort of the edge of accommodation. We're a village officially, Gary's going in. And one of the neighbours around here has, at the start of the shutdown, she set up a lovely little thing where she had a load of her teddy bears. They all sit out in the front garden, and every day they do something different. And every day she makes a photograph and she puts them up on the village Facebook page. And they've done all sorts of things. And on a rainy day, they actually go in and paint indoors. So they're on ladders indoors. Today they were having ice creams. Oh, no, they weren't. No, it was yesterday they were having ice creams. But today, interestingly enough, they're out in the front garden and they've had loads of new teddy bears now arrive to stay with them. So obviously everybody's sending teddy bears to her. But today, it was a lovely picture today. The local Lions Club have actually awarded the teddy bears a certificate of thank you for cheering everybody up in the village by doing so many fun things. This lady has the most amazing imagination of what she does with these dozen teddy bears. She's got little bikes, she's got wheelbarrows, she's got all sorts of things. They do gardening some days. Absolutely amazing. So that's my shout out for the teddy bear lady where I live. Right.
I kept flicking back on there. I was trying to speak to Kerry whilst you were talking, but I've had it with Kerry and she said she can't understand why it would be there and then disappeared. But if you can send us a note, whoever you are, with the branch, because it might just be a particular branch. Kerry is catching up with putting people's CPD on at the moment because we've had quite a few branches and obviously quite big attendances. So it could just be that, but she's not sure. So if you let me know a bit more information, then we'll have a look at that. So,
Okay.
you do. You've done Nikki
Right,
Hackenby.
and Nicola and Kirsty's just come up. Kirsty St. John's just come up. Cambridge ICB meeting Tuesday with Paula Vasey-Smith and Claire Mannell at 7 p.m. on the 8th. So that's on the same day. So what a choice for you.
How's the dog?
With Mike.
How's the dog, Kirsty? I presume it's all right. I hope it's all right.
Right, let's take that one off. Now let's see what else we've got. Oh, Faye. Faye, there's too many people coming back asking me about bank holiday. Are we doing 6 days furlough claim to include the bank holiday, the 31st? I think it is. I think you are, because it's a work day or it's a holiday day. So I don't know. Anybody else got any comments on that one? No, Kirsty's come back about the dog.
Are you sure it's about the dog? It says still alive and very bitey, but lovely and cute. I'm not sure if that means her or the dog, but anyway, one way or the other. It's like, you know, we'd hate you to get into trouble.
And Suzanne's come back and said, yeah, she's going to email in the meetings that she's missing.
3 meetings. Oh, okay. That might be something that's wrong on your record somewhere. We've done something wrong. So, okay, that's great. If, which meeting was it, Suzanne? Sorry, we've got a lot of Suzannes. I don't know if she'll come up and tell us in a minute. She will be, probably.
The email's in and Kerry will sort it out.
Yeah. I'll send her an email as soon as that comes back up, actually.
I'm going to do a quick bit of research. If you've got anything to say, Gary, I'm going to have a quick look up and see if I can sort out this bank holiday for furloughing.
You can do weekly claims, but can't cross over month ends.
No, you can go up to the 31st, but it's a question of whether the 31st counts as a furlough day. My gut reaction is yes, it does.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've got much to talk about at the moment. I think it's gone generally quiet because obviously a lot of people are on holiday, and also I've been out of I was going to say out of the office, but I'm not. I've been back in the office for a couple of days just to try and get it set all up. Obviously, some of our team members are quite happy working from home, but others, particularly the younger ones, want a bit of a social life, so they'd like to go back. So we're going to have some sort of a hybrid mix, I think we could possibly call it, when we do move back, but we're having to move desks around and put in stations where you can wash your hands and all this sort of stuff a bit more, as every good employer would do. Obviously, we try to do our best. We've actually got more staff now than we've got desks for, so that's another thing that we're doing. We're going to be putting in some extra desks, but we will be going in probably by membership will go in one day and student registrations go in another day, just so that people can talk to each other and people can work at the desk, but just split it up a little bit. So I think we'll let you know on that. Actually, it will make no difference to you at all, because the other thing that we've just done, I don't think Jackie's had hers yet, but all of the staff have now been bought brand new laptops, and we've got an online phone system, which means that we now use the laptop as our phone rather than a phone itself. So the old phones are disappearing. We're doing this fantastic new system. It seems to be working very well with the team members that have got it already. So they can work on their screen and they have a headset and just chat away to you as if you're on a phone. So it's really, really good. And I know one person did ask me about this. As soon as people get the headset, nothing comes out of the screen. So if you're talking and they're in the middle of a room of other people or anything else, nobody else will hear that. It only comes through the headset. And then you hear what obviously comes back through the microphone. So we're always very careful with data, and your data particularly. And something else a lady asked me recently, she was trying to send in her DBS certificate, and she said, well, can I send it to somebody specific? But it goes into the compliance pot, which is only accessible by 3 people, and they are specifically involved with the anti-money laundering and all that side of things. So nobody else can get hold of that. Our members of the normal team can look and know that you've sent one in, but it says on there restricted, and nobody can get into that. I can't get into it. So it's for those people who need to know, and they're the people that get that. And if there is anything in there that we find in an inspection or anything else, nobody else will know that. They will know that there's been an inspection. They might know that on occasions they need to talk to an inspector because of something that could have happened and could affect what you're doing. But it's not for general release. So don't ever worry that we're jumping up and down in the main office whenever we're back in the office and saying, you know, oh, so-and-so's had a problem or anything like that. It's all kept very quiet. Of course, the other thing that has happened recently, I did say briefly last week, I think we just got feedback on our OPBAS inspection. So that's the Office for Professional Body AML Supervisors. They're our controlling body. They're part of the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, and come under the Treasury and the government, obviously. You know, and we are not allowed to go into too much detail, but we came out happy, as did they. They thought we're doing things right. But one thing is that anybody who is found to be non-compliant, we now have to name those people somewhere on our newsletter and on our website, so that it is it's supposed to be dissuasive. And I know it's not going to be fun for those of you who are found non-compliant, but it's something we are going to be required to do, and it's something that most of the other bodies are doing already. We were just being a little bit more careful, but that will be happening shortly.
Yeah, I'm coming back to Faye on her this August bank holiday thing, and I think I've probably got a definitive-ish answer for it, if there is such a thing. I just thinking again, HMRC on their calculator are calculating the daily rate based over whether it's 30 or 31 days. So that includes Saturdays and Sundays, so we'll include bank holidays as well. So if you're using the calculator, it will claim it as a normal working day. So yes, I think you can claim it for furlough. And what Faye has come back and said, thank you, Faye, I've been topping up the 20% for employees that would only normally work on a Monday and claiming 80% furlough. So they would be working if they're not. So yeah, I think that's fine. Not a problem.
Suzanne, hi, that extra information. I think the best thing, if I could ask you just to contact Kerry, so that's KERRY.agnew, AGNEW, at bookkeepers.org.uk, or by phone, obviously. If you can, it looks as if it might be something to do with your record, because I noticed you've been to Dorset, Devon, oh, that was Dorset and Devon, wasn't it? And a couple of other things there. Let's just make sure there's not a blip in your system somewhere, rather than but it could be that Kerry's working on it. But if I could ask you to contact her direct, then she's got a one-to-one with you, and she'll be able to follow that up.
Slight change of topic here, Gary. Faye's come back again and said, can somebody look at point 8.3, client identification on the ICB engagement letter template, please? It's the last part of the sentence. It seems to suggest that suspicious activity will be reported and is noted in this statement. So, not sure about that.
Sorry, I'm not quite sure which part it is. I'll have a quick look. Yeah, I need to look at that. I don't off the top of my head know what 8.3 is. I'll have a look, and I'll get back to you on that. Yeah. If we believe that there is a suspicious activity taking place with one of our members, we will look at that. We are responsible for chasing that up. If we, however, find that there is criminal activity, and we have found one person, I think it is to the best of my knowledge so far, that's done that, then we obviously have to put in a suspicious activity report ourselves, even though we will be taking action against it. We give that to the National Crime Agency, who then take whatever legal action they need to take. But that's probably not what you're talking about. I need to look at 8.3. I'm sorry. I'll try and do that.
Okay. So we've got it at the moment. Yeah, I think we've covered all of the chats and the questions at the moment. I've got I'll just leave Faye's question live there for you, Gary, and then you can make a note of that. So, yeah. Anybody else got anything that they want to raise?
If not, Yeah, I'm asking Steve. He probably won't come back quite that quickly, but 8.3. Right, I'll do that anyway, Faye. I will get back to you on that. I know where you are. I can find you, and I'll mention it. Try and remember. Please remind me to mention it next week anyway. Once I find out the answer, because it might be that other people are concerned about that as well, or don't quite understand it. Nicola Payne.
Yeah, HMRC calculator does use the 30 or 31 days, but it then asks you how many hours are normally worked in a period. So the bank holiday is still the question. I think if you're going to, I still think it comes back to holidays and what your ruling is for holidays, because if they're taking it as a holiday, then it's still furloughed. So I still think it's included. But again, come back at me. That's my own personal view. Because otherwise, normally you're going to be paid, aren't you? It depends how you work out your daily rates. You're working them over 52 weeks, 5 days. That includes bank holidays to get your daily rate, and that's what you're paying people, whether they're working bank holidays or not. So I still think it comes back to whether you're going to treat it as a holiday or not. If it's holiday, it's paid. But do come back at me.
I think the idea of the bank holidays, bringing it into the main holiday, was so that people didn't get double time for working bank holidays, wasn't it? Wasn't it one of those things so that if you work through a bank holiday, you just got a day off, not double time? Or when I was at work, it was always time and a half, and you got time and a half if you were off on working on a Saturday or something, and all this sort of stuff. So
yeah, it's very interesting. The system changed, because previously, if you look at people like refuse collectors, then they never used to work on a bank holiday and everything was deferred, but certainly here they work bank holidays. So, and Nicola's come back and said, my gut was to include it as a working day, but I thought to just double check. Sorry, please do not apologise, Nicola. If it wasn't for all of you putting these questions up, I would probably get it wrong anyway, so do challenge me, and that's great. No, I think it's I think you count it as a working day and claim it. But do keep your records in case they come back and query it.
Was that off down and that's that one, right? Okay, I think we've got another one up there. What's that? Have you seen the last one? This one up now from Natalie.
Natalie, no.
Have you answered that?
No. I was wondering. This is from Natalie. I was wondering. I understand businesses cannot claim. Oh yes, the employment allowance and furlough. The clients have their payroll processed by a third party. However, when I check client's HMRC account, I can see the allowances applied, and NI and PAYE is paid less the employment allowance. Does the HMRC furlough calculator take this allowance off when making a claim? Sorry, I don't do furlough calculations. No, it doesn't. It just tells you what it is and what you can claim. However, Natalie, we have talked about this before, because this is an ongoing situation. Now, we weren't sure when this whole thing started in April as to whether you could claim the employment allowance and claim the furlough NICs. And we looked into it and we took some advice, and I took some advice from HMRC. And sorry, there's funny noises. I have a new phone and I'm still trying to work out why it's making funny noises. Sorry. We got some confirmation back from HMRC that said you cannot claim the same benefit twice. So therefore, if you're claiming the furlough for NICs for April through to July, you couldn't claim the employer's allowance. We then looked at saying, well, can you claim the employer's allowance from September? And what HMRC is saying is that it's now going back and it's as if it takes it back from the beginning of the year. So we said that reinforces the fact you can't claim twice. However, I have to say this week, there's another query out on that as well, because I'm going to try and find out some more information, because I've spoken to several members on this. And now it looks as though you might be able to start claiming your employer's allowance from September. But the trouble is, we'd already been told by HMRC that you can't. So therefore, it's too late to go back and claim it back again if you've got the employer allowance. So it really has been one of those nightmare scenarios that we never really did get to the bottom of it. And HMRC, as always, won't commit themselves. All they will say is you cannot claim the same allowance twice. So again, if anybody's got any comments on that, then please come back and let us know.
Right, just... I typed in the wrong number. I asked for 8.4, it's 8.3. So let me, Steve's just come back and says, I don't know what 8.4 is. Well, he probably won't. It isn't there. So I'll give him another couple of minutes. He's obviously online and I'll try and get an answer to that. I've had 2 suggestions for the F on Friday. One is not repeatable.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a dangerous. One is
fellows, it's Friday. Well, actually, I don't think we can just thank the fellows. I mean, the fellows are pretty good. In fact, very good. But I think it'd be a bit mean just to have it thank fellows. It's Friday. But nice suggestion. And that came from Jane Doe, surprisingly. Just come through on my mobile, so I'll be able to track down who you were. But sure, it'll be fine. So anyway, that's good. So are we going to get an answer from Steve? Probably not in time. I think, Jackie, if we don't have any more there, it's almost an hour anyway. So yeah. It's surprising how quickly this time goes. It's 3/4 of an hour. And I think that so many people are now on holiday that, you know, they've got other things to do. Although I did notice that, you know, several of the people who've told us they're on holiday did actually tune in on Wednesday. I won't name them, but did link in on Tuesday to listen to the receipt bank versus auto entry. So it's nice that people do this. And it was also interesting that one of the ladies, one of our members that was commenting for us on which software she preferred best, was actually ringing in from Italy, because since COVID she's realised she can work remotely. So she was away in Italy and working from there. So and funny enough, one of the other big benefits that was mentioned about this was that throughout her life as a bookkeeper, she's been traveling around the world with her husband, who's got a business that takes him all over the world, and she was always doing her business from wherever he was. So she's carried out her bookkeeping practice, I think she said, from a dozen different countries or something. So I mean, that's great fun. And you know, it is ultimately flexible. I'm still pushing along that we just need to make sure that we don't totally neglect the clients. You know, I know it's great that we can do things remotely, but they do still need the figurative arm around the shoulder occasionally, and you need to be there for them. So just make sure we don't slip up on that one completely. But anyway, I think we're done for today. Steve obviously isn't coming back as quickly as he did to the first one. He's probably reading through trying to find what 8.3 is. I'm sure we'll know, and I'll mention it as soon as we know. So, Jackie, anything big coming up this week?
No, I don't think so. We've just putting together the final documents for 2 big consultations that got to go in next Friday, and I'm just about to start. I've got 3 more that I've got to start. The next one is on tax avoidance schemes. So I've just downloaded the consultation document today, which is 64 pages long, so that's going to keep me busy next week. One on
we are a lot of these at the moment, aren't we?
Sorry?
We are getting a lot of these at the moment, a lot of white papers.
What's happened is that a lot of them also have been deferred, and the closing dates for all of them are coming up now. So I think I've got 3 or 4 left to do, going up to about the middle of October, but they are coming out all the time. And the next one that's going to be the biggie to start really researching and looking into is what's going to happen with VAT on the 1st of January. So that is going to be one which I think is going to be a very short lead-in time to changing your systems, depending on what's going to happen with at the end of the transition period. I'm starting work on MTD systems for self-assessment the week after next. I've got 2 working party groups coming up on that. One to look at the technicalities of how it's going to be done, and one to look at the computerized, the online stuff. So I've got that's going on. So there's a lot coming on over the next couple of months. But the Brexit one and the transition and the VAT is the one that I think is going to cause members possibly the biggest change because the EU business-to-business VAT rules, I think, will change. I've done a couple of articles already on that, on the various possibilities. So as soon as we know what's going to happen, we'll get something out to you.
I think you and I have discussed it in the past, and I think that a number of these white papers that come out, it's almost a foregone conclusion. But it's seen to be a public consultation. Others, on the other hand, I think they can change their mind at the last minute if there's a complete sea change against what they think.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the two we've looked at this last couple of weeks, what they're doing is that they're looking at the issues and the problems, and they're coming up with their own suggestions, which they're going to go with, but they're actually asking us if we have any other suggestions. So as Garry said, most of it's foregone conclusion, but we're allowed to put in comments. And as I said, I had some great stuff from those members who have got construction industry clients, and some of the issues that we've raised that weren't particularly in the consultation document, but they wanted raised, so we're going to raise them. And it raises that profile out there, doesn't it, Garry?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we have to say something, even if sometimes it's just for the sake of saying it. I mean, that sounds silly, but there are some things which we are just on the edge of, but we need to make sure that we don't get pushed away from that edge, or we are not involved in everything. So we have to say something.
I think also some of these consultation documents, the people that normally put the input into this and responses are the large companies, and ICAW, ICAS, the big accountancy bodies will always put one in. But so do the large accountancy practices. And I think what we have to do is we have to put our consultation responses in for the little guys. We've got to go pushing the type of clients that our members have, and the fact that that's going to cause some differences, and there are things that they can and can't do, and we need to point out that not all of them are the big guys.
Yeah, and I think we've had some big successes. We're quite happy to claim them. They might not have been just down to us, but you remember the big one some time ago that only an accountant could sign off VAT.
Yeah.
On the VAT return, and then the other one was that only accountants could handle money laundering, so bookkeepers had to work through an accountant for their due diligence, etc., and all that sort of stuff. If you're not careful, things do tend to slip through on paragraph 35 on page 110 or something or other. And you know, there are a lot of vested interests out there, so we have to be very careful. As you'll see, the sun is coming out at the moment. I'm having to move around slowly as the sun is moving, but anyway, so yeah, but it's I think it's likely to be I think once the children go back to school, or don't, depending on what happens with that, I think things will start to hot up again. We'll start to have ministers back working. A lot more things will be coming out of the system. We have got a couple of ministers lined up to come back on here to talk to us. Again, that's an exercise of increasing our profile. They may not tell us anything we don't already know, and they may just give us a politician's answer, but they will at least know we exist, which is brilliant. And I know in the days when Boris Johnson was mayor of London, and he did quite a bit of work for us with regard to our recognition by sending letters to people and doing other things, which is why we have that phrase on the wall that when I showed you all last week when we were sitting in the office, and I showed you the thing we put on our wall. You know, it's a politician's phrase, but it's a lovely phrase to use as a shot in the arm for us all as bookkeepers. Okay, Jackie, I think we're done on questions. Steve hasn't come back on 8.3, and will do. It's been good to have you back again, and we will keep it up, whether it's furlough or fellow or whatever. Well, Friday it is. We will continue with it as that for the moment, but we might need to change it. And yeah, so bye all. Thank you for being with us. And some of you have been with us virtually every episode. And we're looking through at the moment to see if anybody's been with us for the full, is this 71 or something like that? And I don't think anybody has, but we will check. So if you think you've been to everyone, please let me know. It might help me rather than troll through several thousand names to see how often you've been there. But anyway.
Good luck to those over towards the west of the country that are being battered like mad, I understand, at the moment. So good luck to you if you're getting a lot of wind and rain at the moment. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Have a lovely weekend all.
Bye all. See you soon.
Bye.